Luis Guerra Casanova, who is National Representative for Innovation in Small Medium Enterprise and SMEs. He works for the Center for the Development of Industrial Technology. Luis, please. I didn't see you, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you very much for being invited here. I'm just going to start with two questions, easy for you. How many of you are program owners at regional level or national level for structural funds? Regional, how many, please? Not many, okay. Second question, how many of you belongs to the community of practice of the Seal of Excellence? Don't. Okay, perfect. So this morning I assume that Magda has presented you what's the Seal of Excellence, so what's the logic behind that. So I'm trying to give you an overview of how have we benefit from that at national level for the easiest part, which is the phase one of the SME instrument. Okay, I'm going. Oops, this works. Okay, for us, as you know, the SME instrument is a phased support within Horizon 2020. They first give a phase one and then give the phase two for a larger projects development. So our objective in Spain to have this pilot program taking benefit of the Seal of Excellence is that generate competitive phase twos within the Horizon 2020 SME instrument. And I don't know if you know quite much, the program is really focused on SME and growth, but there are three elements that very good projects do have for the SME instrument. The first one is about, well, I'm going to take it later, but just an overview of what I'm going to tell you now is first, how are these phase two winners, then which was the process we follow at national level to define these kind of projects, and then some elements for you to consider if you are aiming to do something similar. So that's a kind of agenda for my presentation, these 4 points, and a very nice linear line that you see here for us in our presentation, and probably when you think about that, when you turn into reality, it looks something like that. Okay, that's reality. So what's the thing that you are doing? You plan everything. You think that everything is going to work at the first time. And the reality is that it is not going to happen that way. Okay? So I hope that my presentation will go linear, of course. But take that in mind that this will happen to you in real life. So which are the three key elements you have to assume if you would like to prepare a good phase two? You have to have a very good market analysis in detail. If you know, when you are talking about the SME instrument, most of the companies go to the SME instrument saying that they know the market in a blur way. So as far as you get it to the more target client basis, you have more chances to get a successful phase two project. These kind of things are typical elements you have to develop during your phase one of the SME instrument. The second thing that you have to develop there, and you have to be sure to show the Commission, is that you are in a TRL 6 for the SME instrument. As you know the program, they said that, okay, it is not an R&D program. You should be already having everything done. It's now talking about demonstration or talking with clients. Oops, and you have to be really careful that this TRL 6 is truly a TRL 6. We, as National Contact Point, read a number of proposals, and if you see the Dilbert line, it's similar to that. It seems to be TRL 6, but when you scratch a bit, it turns out to be less developed. So there's a lot of projects being suspended because of that. So you have to work a lot in phase one to ensure that this TRL 6 is really true. And finally, the third key element for a good successful phase 2 is to have a very good analysis of competence. In principle, this is a kind of things you have to do again during the phase 1. Why I put this image for you? Most of the people, if you are working in the X world, okay, X, will think that competence is white X or brown X. But he will never think about someone external from this X world that will be able to solve the same problem that you are trying to solve. Probably you as a company are the only one that is doing something especially with this technology, perfect, but probably you are not alone in the world solving the same problem you are aiming to solve. So this is the third part. It's critical for a phase 2 in the SME instrument. And these three parts are critical to be done during a phase 1. So why are we putting money at national level to provide companies with these three elements? Because the statistics says that if you are going through a phase 1, your chances to get through a phase 2 are really triple. That's the evolution of funded phase 2 coming or not from phase 1 in the last calls. And as you can see there, in the last call, almost 70% of funded phase 2 came from a phase 1. So we understood at national level that going and doing a real phase 1 is really critical. So we took advantage of the Seal of Excellence concept, and we tried to put some of our efforts in that to ensure that our companies which are not able to get the phase 1 do have the opportunity to perform these three things with national money. So we start thinking that, we talk with the ministry, and when we talk with the ministry, we think a very agile profile. We go to a minimis regime. We would have gone through the state aid rules, but we prefer to do it through minimis. It's not much money, so we did it that way. The good point of the Seal of Excellence is that you know the demand. I don't know if any of you work with SMEs as a program level, but one of the main problems with the SMEs is that they are a lot. So if you launch something for SMEs at regional level, you never know how many people is going to ask you back. Hundreds, many cases. With that scheme, you know the demand. That's a huge advantage, because you know if there are 100, 50, 30, whatever. At the Spain level, you can see in the top part, we are very good in the SME instrument. We are in the top 1, let's say, for that. But we still have a lot of companies, if you see the below graphic, with high scores but not funded. So we already knew the demand, which is these 200 people around in the very first call so far. So for them, we developed a program. So how we did that? We used the Seal of Excellence as an eligibility criteria. Probably Magda, I've told you before that one of the key points of the SME, of the Seal of Excellence, is that you can trust the evaluation coming from Brussels. Yes, that's true, but we didn't do it as such. We use it as eligibility criteria on a learning by doing process, okay? Everything is learning here. What we did is ask them to work as little as possible. They have already presented the program in Brussels, in English. They got an evaluation. So we work with that same proposal, with that same evaluation. The only thing we asked them was to decouple the budget, because instead of using the flat rate that the Commission uses, we use budgets categories. In fact, it's a problem. I anticipated you, because then you have to justify cost, and for that is a really more tricky question than for the flat rate of the Commission. So we managed to get 8 million for the first call in 2015 from the ministry, and we managed to get 4 million almost this year for the ministry itself. We started last year with 12 as the threshold, because the Seal of Excellence concept did not exist yet. So we more or less anticipated that. And this year we had used already the Seal of Excellence concept, which is the 13 out of 15 for the threshold. So that was our parameters for setting the scheme. And we use the same evaluation criteria than Horizon 2020. I mean, that's true. They have already evaluated excellence, impact, and implementation. So we were not going to reinvent the wheel. The evaluations were there. The only thing we really look more in detail is the implementation part, because we really ask them to decouple the budget. So we take a lot of advantage of the same scoring that the Commission was giving the companies, and we did a maximum score of 15. So more or less the process itself we copy, in fact. So what we see in that process, well, as again, some of these curves, which are these complications. The first one is that since we use it through minimis with a number of conditions through the budget eligibilities, we found something really different things. So we set a number of maximum points, so many companies build their budgets a bit artificially. So keep that in mind. If you make things complex, you enter into financial engineering puzzle for companies and for consultancies, which at the end is not really true. The second thing is that there are a lot of companies between 12 and 13. So if you see that's the number of companies scoring in the SME instrument, and there is a lot of companies between 12 and 13, which is not really a very, very good project. So go straight to the 13 has been a very good approach for us. The third one is we use business coaching. As the Commission offered them business coaching, we offer companies business coaching. We offered profiles like this one, so they can contact these people directly. So we give them quite a lot of flexibility to them to say, okay, I would like to have business coaching or not. So those are the three things we learn. What are you have to consider if you would like to take that into account? First, time. The SME instrument cuts 4 times a year. If you are trying to do it with just one call a year, people will tend to come back to the SME instrument in Horizon 2020 instead of waiting for you. Okay? So time is critical. For phase one, it's more or less easy. If you are able to do the second point I'm going to tell you. For phase two, is really a tricky question, because you are not able to give at national or regional level the same conditions that the Commission is given. So time, consider a really asset for the companies, especially for SMEs. The second, you have to give them an attractive program offer. If you were a business, it's like that. You are giving a product that should be attractive enough. In our cases, our phase one, some of them, you can see there, got even more grant that the Commission was giving them. So it's really attractive for them. Well, it's a bit tricky because they have to cost justification, but the program offer is attractive enough for them. So that's the real issue for it to work. And finally, at the end, this is a plan B. I mean, you have asked them to go to Brussels to come to money. That's a plan B for them. If there is a plan B, it should be very successful for them. In our case, in the first year is about success rate more than 50%. In this year, with the threshold of 13, the success rate is almost 90%. So that's really the good message here. That's really incentivizing company to go to Brussels with less risk and with less fear of the Brussels elements, because they have something at national level as a network, as a plan B. So if you like football, that's the message. Probably you know Atletico de Madrid. But that's the main point for these people, okay? And that's all. In synergies and many things in life, try to give as many simple as possible. Because if not, companies prefer to go to the simplest way. Okay, thanks a lot.